Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here or if you haven't done so already, I would be so grateful if you could hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a little thumbs up. I am a first time mum to 6-month-old Joel, so I post videos primarily about motherhood. So yeah, if that's what you are into, I would love if you could join us over on this channel. So I am back to the loungewear life. Not that I ever really came out of it, but you know, it's now lockdown number 3, and yeah, I don't really plan to get changed out of any loungewear for the duration of this lockdown. Obviously it is the first day of the 3rd lockdown. If you heard the announcements last night and you are struggling today, just know that my inbox is always open over on Instagram. I haven't always found this easy either, but I am just going to basically just using this video to like reflect back on 2020 and then talk about a couple of goals that I have for 2021, and hopefully it will make you guys feel a little bit more positive and maybe a little bit more motivated. I don't know, I will try my best. But I think after last night's announcements and just being back here again, and I just don't think any of us thought that we would be back here again like nearly a year later. I just think after that today's video is needed. I think reflecting on last year will be good for me today, to try and help myself to keep feeling a bit more positive, and hopefully that will spread across to you guys as well. So where do I even begin with 2020? I mean, what a mental year. So obviously I found out that I was pregnant with Joel in October 2019. We announced our pregnancy on the 27th of December 2019. And then I think the last bit of normality that I remember was going to my 20-week scan with Steve. That was on the 18th of February. And then obviously by the beginning of March, COVID was really sort of like ramping up. I remember being sat at work next to my manager and he said, "Oh, have you heard about the latest thing, coronavirus?" And we were kind of laughing about it at the time because of the name. It just, you know, I don't know why, we were just laughing about it. And you know, at the time it was in China, it was so far away, and I don't think any of us ever thought it would get to this and it would blow up this much and still be with us like a year later. I'm going to try not to get emotional talking about it, but yeah, the last sort of week or so has been very up and down, so I will try my best to hold it together for this video, because we are staying positive, guys. We're going to stay positive and we will all get through this together. Anyway, I just think back to my pregnancy and I was put on furlough from the end of March. So the first week that we went into lockdown, I was put on furlough. I work in the car finance industry. They had already said to me a few weeks before that, when COVID was getting quite bad, they took me into the office and they were like, "Because you're pregnant, we want to know if you would be happy to work from home. Obviously for your own safety, we would allow you to do that. We're not allowing it for everyone, but we will allow it for you." And I said, if I decide to work from home, will I be able to come back before I go on maternity leave once this is all over? And let's all laugh together. Like, I literally thought it was going to be over before I had Joel at that point. So they said no. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go away and think about it, because I don't really want to be out of the office for the rest of my pregnancy. I just feel like I'll be really lonely at home. I want to have like a proper leaving day before I go off for 9 months and things like that. So I was thinking about that, and then obviously a few weeks later it was taken out of my control. We went into lockdown and I got put on furlough. And I remember at the time, like, it did feel a little bit exciting. I think like none of us had been there before. It was scary, like no one really knew anything about this virus, but it was also really exciting as well. Not really exciting, but it was exciting in the sense that I had been working 60 hours a week up until this point, and the thought of staying at home, even at this point I thought it would just be for a couple of weeks, the thought of a couple of weeks off, even though I was only getting paid 80% of my salary and still paying tax on that because of the furlough scheme, I was so grateful to have that time off just to rest. And in the end it ended up being that I was on furlough till I went on maternity leave at 38 weeks, which is what I had originally planned to do. So at the time I was very lonely. I was gutted that I couldn't have my baby shower. I was gutted that our antenatal classes, we did the NCT course, I was gutted that they weren't face to face. We had to do them via Zoom. But actually looking back, that was really like kind of a nice time in my life, because like, when are you ever going to have a pregnancy again where you get to stay at home and get paid for it? I know I wasn't getting paid the full amount and I was still paying tax on it, but when are you ever going to have that chance again? And I actually do feel really grateful for that, because I know a lot of people, I'm gonna get emotional now. Sorry guys, I'll try not to. It's just been a tough week, I think, for everyone. there's so many people that were working on the front line during this pandemic, including my husband. So I just feel grateful that I was able to stay at home and have that time to myself before I had Joel. Obviously, I'm never going to get time to myself in that sense again, so that was really, really nice to have. I missed kind of the way that the world came together, and the fact that I was worried during pregnancy, especially being pregnant over sort of spring, summer when all the festivals are on, that I would get like FOMO, which is like fear of missing out. But obviously, thanks to COVID, I didn't get that because no one was doing anything. Everyone was at home. I literally didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. So they are the positives that I am taking away from 2020 with me. It was a really chilled, really relaxed pregnancy, and Steve was with me for both my scans because they happened before COVID got really bad. I did go for a growth scan at 34 weeks, which obviously he wasn't allowed in for, but I wasn't too bothered because I'd already had my 2 main scans with him, and on top of that we'd also paid for 2 private scans as well. So they are the positives I'm taking away with me. And also I think back and I just think, how lucky was I? Like, the timings for sort of milestones during my pregnancy was so good, so I was so lucky with those. So basically I turned 25 weeks pregnant the day that we were due to go into lockdown, and we had a 4D scan booked for when I was 28 weeks, which is when they sort of say is the best time to have it. And I moved it forward. I had moved it forward about a week before this because I knew that we were going to go into lockdown. And I phoned them and I said, can I still come for my scan? And they were literally, they said, we can get you in today, because I moved it forward by another day when they announced lockdown. They said, we can get you in and you will literally be the last appointment before we close, and you can't have a 4D scan any earlier than 25 weeks. I was literally 25 weeks on that day, and no other places were doing 4D scans anywhere near us. How lucky was I? I just feel so grateful to have been able to have that, because I know a lot of girls really wanted one and didn't get to have one, and I just think someone was looking down on me to allow me to have that. Yeah. So, and also our baby moon. So we were originally meant to go to Malta. Obviously it got cancelled because it was the week, we were due to go the week before lockdown happened. It got cancelled, but we managed to get a last minute spa break to Cornwall, which was absolutely amazing. I said, do you know what? I said to Steve, do you know what? If we're not going abroad, I am literally going to spend our whole budget for our holiday abroad on a UK break. So we had just 2 nights for this budget in the most amazing hotel. And we had that lovely little break, and I'm glad that we did it. And people said to us, you know, you shouldn't be travelling. This was literally the weekend before lockdown, the pubs had just closed. People said to us, you shouldn't have been travelling, but at the time, and do you know what, I'm glad we did it. I don't regret doing it. We went to Cornwall. There was like no cases there at all at the time. We went to Cornwall and it was so quiet and it was so chilled. We were in the spa and in our room a lot of the time, and I'm glad that we did it, because otherwise, looking back now and knowing how long COVID has gone on for, we wouldn't have got to have that break. Like, we weren't coming out of lockdown, so we wouldn't have got to have that break. So I'm really glad and blessed that we managed to get that still before lockdown. And then also my baby shower. So my baby shower was meant to be on the 31st of May. It got cancelled because I was going to have like a big thing in my garden that my friend was planning. And then a few days before, the government announced the rule of 6. So I just assumed that I was going to go over to my mum's house to have afternoon tea, just literally with her and my sister, just to kind of drown my sorrows and the fact that my baby shower wasn't happening. But when I got there, my auntie was there and then 2 of my best friends were there. So that was the 6 of us that I was allowed. But honestly, I did cry when I walked in. I just felt so grateful, and I mean, what good timing. I was 35 weeks pregnant, so I couldn't have really pushed it back any more than that. So I was just so grateful that they knew how upset I was about my baby shower. And I know it's not the end of the world, guys, and I know people have been through far worse, but I think the thing to remember through all of this is that your feelings are valid. And so many people who haven't had a baby during this time or been pregnant during this time, they don't understand. You can't understand. I don't understand someone else's situation unless I've actually been in it myself. And we haven't, you know, there's people out there that are far, far worse than us. They've had it far worse. People have lost loved ones in this pandemic, businesses, and it's just absolutely awful. But your feelings are valid. So just don't ever feel ashamed for feeling like you've been robbed of one of the most vulnerable times in your life that's meant to be the most memorable and special experience, and it's just being robbed because of this virus. And I know we're grateful for our health, we're grateful that we haven't lost loved ones and we're still here, but never feel bad for feeling like you have missed out in a way, and for feeling sad about it. It's completely normal, and if someone who hasn't been in that situation doesn't understand, then just let them be. They don't need to understand. There's such a good community on Instagram. Speak to your mum friends that are going through this, and I just think it's so important that all new mums stick together. We've done amazing to get through this year. It's such a hard time, and I know we're grateful for our health, we're grateful that we haven't lost loved ones and we're still here, but never feel bad for feeling like you have missed out in a way, and for feeling sad about it. It's completely normal, and if someone who hasn't been in that situation doesn't understand, then just let them be. They don't need to understand. There's such a good community on Instagram. Speak to your mum friends that are going through this, and I just think it's so important that all new mums stick together. We've done amazing to get through this year. It's such a hard time. It's so hard being a first-time mum and bringing a baby into the world anyway, let alone, try not to get emotional again, let alone during a global bloody pandemic. I think we all need to be kind to each other and just remember that everyone's been affected in some way this year, and just because someone's upset about something and they're voicing their opinion, it doesn't mean they think they're the worst off in the world. It's just them voicing their feelings. So I just think it's really important to remember that, and that's one of the lessons I've learned from the past year, because I just feel like our nation has been so divided from this virus, and it shouldn't be like that. Like, we all need to come together again, stick together, and we are so, hopefully, so close to coming out of this now. And sadly it has come into 2020, can't talk today, sadly it has come into 2021 with us, but like Boris said on the announcements last night, hopefully by the middle of February we will start looking at coming out of this, and I just really hope that's the case, because me and a lot of other mums that I see, well, was seeing weekly before this latest lockdown, we are due back to work in April, so it would mean the absolute world to us if we could at least get a little bit of normality for the last bit of our maternity leave. So yeah, then obviously I won't go into too much detail on this, because if you have watched my birth story on here, or if you haven't, head over and give that a watch, and it talks all about my birth experience during COVID. But I think recently I've been feeling like I have probably been more affected by it than what I thought, and actually I've always felt guilty for feeling like that, because in some people's eyes, I had, you know, the ideal birth, but I think being alone till I was 7 centimetres because of COVID did affect me massively, and I cry whenever I think back to my birth, and I'm trying to hold it together now, but it's all kind of just starting to come out. It started to come out towards the end of 2020, and I realised like how bad I'd actually been feeling about it. So that's one of my goals for 2021. I'm dealing with that at the moment and speaking to the people that I need to speak to, and I'll be absolutely fine. And like I said, people have been through far worse, so I'm really, really lucky and grateful to have had the birth that I did have, but I just think that period of being alone really did affect me, and I don't know why. It just did. Why does anything affect anyone? It did affect me. So yeah, if you haven't watched my birth story, do go over and watch that. It is a positive story, but I just feel sad that me and so many other women had to be alone because of COVID. So yeah, that's another little thing that I've been looking back on a lot recently, from 2020. And then also, obviously we came out of lockdown when I first had Joel, which I was really grateful for, because family and friends were able to meet him, and we threw a big welcome to the world party for him in our garden, which I'm so grateful that we were able to have, because a lot of mums since then haven't been able to do that because we keep going back into lockdown again. So it was so lovely. It was such a lovely day. It was really nice weather, and it was just so nice to have everyone together and to come and meet him. But obviously I didn't really start doing mum dates or baby classes or anything till sort of September time, because me and all of the girls that I did our NCT course with, we were going through the newborn stage for the first 2 months, which was obviously like July and August. We just weren't really up and you're just not really up for doing anything. Like, you're sleep deprived, you're finding your feet and finding your routine. So it wasn't until September that we actually started like meeting up and doing classes and things, and we were like, we're literally going to make the most of this because we're probably going to be in lockdown again in the winter. So we had September and October. I was doing like 3 classes a week. I was meeting up with the mums every week. It was brilliant. And then obviously November, back into lockdown again. Had 2 weeks back at baby classes, got a few mum dates in, and then we had a break for Christmas where we just didn't see anyone. And now we are back in lockdown again. So I am just really hoping that we can have some normality towards the end of our leave before we go back in April. But I've just got to keep everything crossed and see what happens, really. But we're trying to make the most of it. There's classes online at home and things like that. So if you are struggling, there's so many classes. I think the Positive Birth Company are doing classes at 10 o'clock every weekday throughout January on YouTube. So definitely head over to their channel and have a look at that. And if you follow Sophie Pickles on here, I think she's Mummy Pickles on Instagram, she has some pre-recorded sensory classes on her YouTube channel from the first lockdown that me and Joel have been doing when we need something to do at home. So definitely head over and check those out if you guys are struggling. I think some people are okay with being at home, they're absolutely fine with it, and you know, that's great. But I am such a sociable person, I'm not good just being stuck in the house all day. Don't get me wrong, I love days to myself. Like, I love, some days I can't like be bothered to see anyone, but I am such a sociable person, and I always had an idea in my head of what I wanted my maternity leave to be like. I wanted to do all of the classes and just literally make the most of this time that I will never be able to postpone or get back. And yeah, unfortunately it hasn't really been like that, but I have still done some stuff which I'm so grateful for, because I know a lot of mums haven't been able to get onto anything at all. So yeah, I am really, really grateful for that. So enough about 2020. I'm going to try and look forward and focus on this year now. I can't believe we're in 2021. Joel is already 6 months old. It's Tuesday today. He's 6 months old on Friday. It's absolutely mental. I don't know where the time's gone, but it also feels like he's been with us for an absolute lifetime as well. So yeah, it goes so quick, guys. I can't even tell you. You blink and like, he's going to be 1 next week, I swear to God. So my first and main goal for 2020 is to shift the last of the baby flab. So I've done, I purchased a diet plan. I've mentioned it in one of my previous videos, and that got most of the baby weight off. I did put on quite a lot. I put on like 4 stone, including the weight of Joel. So probably like 3 stone of fat I put on. I've lost all but a couple of pounds of it, but obviously I've put on a few more pounds over Christmas, so I've now like kind of put myself back a little bit in the process, but you know, it was always going to happen. So from Monday, I know everyone says, you know, diet starts Monday, but there's a reason behind it. So my sister is a personal trainer, and she does a 12-week challenge a couple of times a year, and she's obviously starting her 12-week challenge this month. So I have signed up for that. I get mates rates, which I'm so lucky. So it works out very, very cheap for one-to-one online coaching with her. She's also doing me another diet plan and a personalised fitness plan. So if I can get another stone off, I'll be happy. If I can get just over a stone off, because I wanted to lose an extra stone. Once I was back at my pre-pregnancy weight, I wanted to lose a stone on top of that, which I never managed to do before I got pregnant. Plus obviously the half a stone that I am away from my pre-pregnancy weight. So I've ideally about 1.5 stones to lose. If I can get that off, then that would be amazing. Ideally by March or by April when I go back to work, I'll be happy. And I really want to tone up, because even though I'd lost most of my baby weight, my shape is so different, and I've got so much loose skin around my belly area still. I've got no definition around my waist. I always had such a small waist, and it's just like basically disappeared. I've got no bum anymore. I left my bum in the delivery room at Poole Hospital when I had Joel, clearly. My thighs touch, they never did before. I know I've had a baby, I'm so grateful for that, but you know, there's things that I want to change, and I just want to tone up, get ready for summer. So let's see if I can do it with this 12-week challenge. So that is my first goal. So my second goal is to take Joel on our first little family holiday, which I'm so excited about. You know what, it feels so strange going into a new year and not really having much planned, because we don't know like what we can do. But we have booked our first family holiday. My dad and stepmom live out in the south of France, and it's beautiful out there over the summer. It gets up to about 38 degrees. throughout July and August. So we are going at the end of August. So we are taking Joel out there with us. So the first thing I need to do this year is apply for his passport. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that little holiday. And then we also, another goal is to throw him the biggest first birthday party ever. I just think everything that we've kind of missed out on during maternity leave and pregnancy, I'm so excited just to have, hopefully by July, 9th of July, which is his first birthday, everything will be okay and we can have all of our family and all of our friends, new mum friends that I've made during maternity leave, everyone can just be together and have a lovely little first birthday party for him. So it gives me something to focus on. I've already started doing mood boards on Pinterest because I love party planning, I love creativity stuff like decor, fancy bits. It's literally just a bit of me, so I'm really excited to plan his first birthday. So yeah, we are already putting ideas together for that. I think it just gives you something to focus on, like whether it's a year away, guys, just try and find something to focus on this year, otherwise you're just going to drive yourself insane during lockdown. And yeah, always have something to work towards and to focus your mind on. And I think the last thing that I just want to say as well, while I'm on the subject, I mean, I'm fully aware that this is going to sound like I'm doing a speech at the Oscars, but I'm going to say it anyway. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys, because I mean, my account on Instagram is just my personal account, and I literally do believe that lockdown helped to build the community on there. I never set out to be a pregnancy influencer or to gain loads of followers or anything like that. That was never my intention. It's literally just my personal account, and I enjoyed documenting my pregnancy. I was at home during lockdown, I wasn't working, I had nothing else to do. I'd gone from working 60 hours a week to suddenly having all of this free time. So I literally just started posting pregnancy related stuff, and it just kind of grew from there really. And I've met so many amazing other mums on Instagram, and I'm just sad that we don't all live nearer to each other, because how amazing would it be if we were all able to have one big like Insta mums meet up? It would be amazing. I speak to so many of you every day on there, and even though I have my mum friends in real life, we can't see each other every day. So this community on Instagram has honestly kept me so positive and helped me to feel, and I'm sure a lot of other mums as well, to feel less lonely during lockdown. So thank you so much guys for, like, I never imagined like anyone would want to follow my journey. I consider myself to be quite like standard and boring really, but yeah, and it's kind of inspired me to start this channel off the back of that, which is something I always wanted to do, but I just didn't think anyone would ever watch it. So yeah, thank you so much guys. And then I think literally the last thing is just to we're doing like a few home improvements at the moment. We've got a couple of things that we want to do to the house. We bought a new build, so it doesn't really need improving, but when we bought it, it was literally all the walls have just been painted white with undercoat. I am doing a nursery like mini makeover video, which I've already started, but obviously I can't show you till it's completely finished, so that should be live in the next week or so. But that is the first room that we have started with. So we've got a couple of other rooms that we want to do, like the stuff we want to do in the living room. So yeah, we're just going to be hopefully slowly working towards a few little bits on the house this year. But yeah, keep positive guys. Thank you so much for watching, and like I said, if you haven't done so already, I would be so grateful if you could hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay positive, and lots of love to you. My inbox is always open over on Instagram if you ever want to chat or you are struggling, and yeah, sending you guys lots of love. Bye.